human beings at the end of the day. Just be nice to people. It goes a lot further. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It goes a lot further. And it takes you a lot further. Okay, so I have opinions that you don't agree with, vice versa. It's okay. It doesn't matter. You know, we're here, we're having a great time, we're enjoying the moment, the atmosphere, the fun, the whole 9 yards. You know, and just enjoy it. You don't have to hate.
We
There's no
don't.
room in this world for hate.
We don't.
But you know, I don't know how to change it. I don't know that it'll ever change, but it saddens me.
So, you know, that's the struggle that I have at times. Actually, off subject a little bit. I've been thinking about running for office, and the first thought sometimes in my head is like, nothing's going to change, so then why do it? But I think it's that thought that doesn't cause change. Like any significant thing that happened, like, you know, they think about the Wright brothers and how many times they failed. But at some point, just because they started the step, we fly on airplanes today, all over the country and all over the world.
Sure.
And so the idea for me is just take the first step, whatever that first step is, and just take it. And I don't, actually the thing that I struggle with is I don't even know what party I would run under, because I think pros and cons on both sides.
Sure.
But the biggest thing for me is uniting, like, and how do you do that? Like that's, you know, how does that come about? And life we'll figure out, you know, it'll the answer, I believe in a God who can do the impossible, and he will always figure it out. And so because I trust in that, and because of the faith that I have, I don't look at what people say can't happen. I just say, my God can do anything.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's absolutely right. And you're not gonna make 1,000 changes.
No.
But if you make one,
If you just make one.
you've accomplished.
Amen.
You've been put here on this earth to do that.
Amen.
And if it's just one, it's one.
Yeah.
So be it. But it may be an enormous change, like, just as an example, finding the cure for cancer.
Yeah.
You know, figuring out what causes certain diseases. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Making it easier for people to get around.
Yeah.
Or to be noticed and recognized. Whatever the change is, if it's just one change, it will make a difference. And it will spread.
It will.
You know, and so you have to think about that and think about what it is that your mission is, what you want to do to accomplish. But going into it knowing that you may not make 100, 200, 300, whatever, but whatever you can do is important.
It is.
You know?
I needed to hear that today. Thank you, Jenna. I needed to hear that. You know,
I think there's days when we all need to hear something.
Yeah.
You know, because if you turn on the TV and you watch the news, it's depressing.
Yeah.
The first 10 minutes of a newscast is about who got shot, who got robbed, who got this, who got that. And then they get into the feel-good stories.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's all great. And then they get into the weather, and then they get into the sports. But that first 10 minutes, it's like, my gosh, is that all we do is kill each other?
And why is it that's the thing that sells? Like that's what sells most in the news.
Sure, that's what people want to hear.
That's what they want to hear in the beginning. Yeah.
You know, and that's what they know that people are going to tune into it.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
What did Brian do?
Brian was an attorney.
He was an attorney.
He was an attorney. My niece, his wife, he was really my nephew-in-law, but he was my nephew.
Yeah.
Forget the in-law part.
Yeah, you don't need that. Yeah.
No, you don't need the in-law part.
Yeah.
He was an attorney. They live in Colorado. And they had a son by the name of Robert Thomas Daniel.
Mm-hmm.
He was prematurely born and he did not live. And time went on and they weren't weren't sure if they could have children. And then they adopted. They adopted a child from Russia. And his name is Declan.
Declan?
Declan.
Okay.
And then they decided to adopt again. And they adopted a child from Colorado Springs.
Uh-huh.
And her name is Scarlett.
Scarlett, okay.
And lo and behold, they had their own. After all this time, not wondering if that would ever happen. And her name is Dorothy.
Dorothy?
So after Dorothy, they decided, you know what, we might want to come back home to Texas. We need a little help here with all these feet and hands and everything. So they came back. They moved to Dripping Springs.
Yeah.
He was an attorney in Dripping Springs. He did have his own office at one time, but then, you know, he could do the same thing at home. So he worked from his house. He was a very good attorney.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe. I believe if he approached life how he approached what was going on with him, it transfers. The way we approach life in any one discipline transfers to other parts of our lives.
That is so true. Because everything that he did, you know, Dripping at the time when they moved there, it wasn't a big community. It's since grown.
Yeah.
But he was very involved in community events and such, and they have a Founders Day event every year.
Yeah.
He was very involved in that, and they dedicated it this year to his honor because he passed away in March before the Founders Day celebration.
When in March?
The 8th.
Okay.
And no, the 6th.
The 6th.
The 6th.
Okay. Okay.
It took 5 people to do his job. It took 5 people to figure out how to do what Brian did.
Isn't that something?
I mean, he was just, he had it all together. He knew what he was doing. And he was, like I said, he was a wonderful son, a wonderful brother, a wonderful father, a wonderful husband. He took incredible care of my niece and his 3 children. And, you know, I'm truly blessed to have had him in my life. I'm very thankful to God. I'm not ready to meet him again. I still have some living to do.
You still got some living to do, yeah. But when you do.
But when I do, it's going to be a glorious day.
Amen.
You know?
Amen.
We're going to hug and and we're going to talk about, he and I would talk about Longhorn football games. And, you know, I saw him the day before he passed away.
Yeah. Well, you saw him on March 5th?
Yes. March the 5th.
That's my birthday.
Is it really?
Yeah. March 5th is my birthday.
Now, this is getting more meant to be, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I was up there. I came up to see him.
Yeah.
It was very obvious. We all knew it. We didn't want to recognize it, but we knew it.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, you know, honey, we're gonna win a national championship this year. And he just kind of shook his head, and I said, you need to be at home.
Yes.
Watching the game.
Yes.
And he shook his head no. He knew that God was coming for him.
Yeah.
You know, it's been, as it is with everybody, this isn't a one-person story. There's millions of people that have experienced all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Losses of loved ones and such. But this has been very hard for my niece and the family. They went from 5 people to 4.
Yeah.
And, you know, the kids are 20, 15, and 12.
Yeah.
So, but they are surrounded by the love and support of family and friends always. So they don't have to worry about any of that.
Yeah.
You know.